If you're finding yourself a little bit frustrated with using integrations with HoneyBook, this is going to be the video specifically for you. You're probably already using HoneyBook inside of your event business for your booking system. However, things may still feel a little bit messy when it comes to the different platforms you're using, communicating effectively. So you're finding yourself double entering client information, you're copy and pasting information from one platform to the next, and you're probably having some tools that are working around HoneyBook, but not working with it. And I get it. Most creative businesses love to do the creative side. However, when it comes to understanding tech and using our systems completely, that's not something we always do the best. So integrations are the key to being able to have different platforms you're using to communicate to each other. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down what HoneyBook integrations really do, the 3 integrations that I recommend event pros like yourself to actually use, as well as how to automate without breaking down your system into more tasks that is going to increase your workload. So if you're wanting to learn more about this, continue to watch this video, take out your notepad so that you can take some notes. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. You might be wondering, why is it that HoneyBook feels so isolated with the different platforms that you're using? At the core of it, HoneyBook is a platform that's going to help you with keeping all of your client workflows in one centralized hub. And for most businesses, it's not going to be your entire stack. I've worked with everyone from business coaches to interior designers, as well as, of course, those of you that are in the event industry. And no one is only using just one platform to be able to execute their services for their client. In fact, the client that I was working with that was an interior designer, just for interior design work, she had 4 different platforms outside of the CRM that she was using as well, which was HoneyBook. And that's just because the nature of executing your services effectively, most of us are using tech so that we're actually cutting back on time or just to help with increasing our productivity. So it can feel very overwhelming when we don't know how to make those different systems and platforms work and communicate with each other. So what I want for you to communicate and comment below right now is just to let me know, what tools are you currently integrating with HoneyBook, or what other tools are you currently using inside of your business? Comment and let me know, because I'm very curious as to what are some of the different tech stacks that different entrepreneurs that watch my content are using, because it's important to know that I'm a big proponent of using technology to support you with productivity inside of your business. I feel that if you are going to invest in a app that's going to cost you $20 a month, but it's going to save you hours of time on a monthly or weekly basis, I feel like it's worth it, especially if you know how much your hourly rate is. So you don't want it to be that you're losing time due to the fact that you are not being efficient with the platforms in which you are using. So thanks if you did comment below to let me know what tech you're using. And the thing is that because we are using different platforms to help us with running our business, it's very important for us to use integration, and most importantly, to use it correctly. Because when you use integrations correctly, it's going to help you with reducing the manual data entry time with doing specific actions. It'll allow for your information to be synced. Because if you're doing things manually, if you change one thing on one platform and then you change it into another, they're just not going to be communicating. You can allow for your triggering to happen automatically. And that is really important, especially when we're using different platforms that are intentionally helping us with executing our services. It allows for you to connect your tools in real time so that there's not a lapse depending on what platforms you're using. Most importantly, it's protecting your time and your mental space, because your time is probably one of the most valuable assets that you have inside of running your business effectively. The most important thing to remember with integrations or anything that's tech involved is that there has to be clarity around the purpose of the platform as well as that integration, because computers will only spit out and do what it's instructed to do. And if you are not that clear, then this is where you need to have clarity before just going into a computer. So it's important to remember that automations isn't about just connecting everything. It's about connecting the right things at the right moment to get the type of results that you're desiring. So I hope that that helped with giving you a little bit more background about integrations, but I do want to also share some of the common mistakes that people make when it comes to doing integrations as well. So some of the common mistakes that people make when it comes to their integrations is that they do not have clarity with what they're actually trying to implement. So I always say, if you've been watching any of the videos that I've talked about when it comes to workflows, is that you always want to map out your workflow so that you know what tools you're connecting and when you want them to connect to each other. And another mistake that people is that they start to automate steps that just so that and at the core of it is just all comes down to lack of clarity, which ultimately makes your platform not be as efficient as you were truly desiring. So that's why I always say at the beginning of any type of automation build out or system implementation is important for you to map out your workflow so that you understand which platform is going to do what and how it's going to communicate to each other. So, the first tool that I want to talk about when it comes to integration is going to be connecting your HoneyBook to Gmail. For those of you that have been using HoneyBook, I highly recommend for you to take the time to connect your Gmail account to your HoneyBook as well as your Google Calendar. You want to have your Google Calendar and your Gmail connected. The reason why I recommend this is because if you're emailing people and it's not connected, that means when your clients are replying back, the emails aren't going to go back to the CRM because it doesn't know to go to that email. So you do want to make sure that you have your Gmail completely connected. This new feature they have is called HoneyBook Chrome extension for Gmail. I do recommend you having that extension. I have it connected to my event business account for HoneyBook. It's not on this on my consulting side, but on my actual event business. Because if I have a client that emails me, it actually will input into HoneyBook and I can create a project really easily and seamlessly. So you do want to make sure you have your HoneyBook Chrome extension for Gmail connected as well as your normal Gmail integration that you'll have. And then you can test it and it will give you a confirmation when it's all good to go. This may be a no-brainer for some of you, but I've gone into some people's accounts and they don't do this. And so what happens is that you're finding yourself in a position where you're having to constantly switch between your email and HoneyBook because they're not communicating. You'll find that conversations will stay attached to just your contracts and different things like that. You'll find that the timeline visibility won't be there as well because a benefit inside of HoneyBook is that when you're sending emails inside of HoneyBook, it will tell you when that email was sent. It will show you if it's been opened and when it was viewed. And like if you have multiple people that are on that email, it will share with you exactly all of the people that were in on that email as well as um, when each individual person opened it, which again is paper trail. So it gives you cleaner ability for follow-ups. So if you see that you sent this person an email and they didn't reply in 4 days, you can see that I need to follow up with that person. And the most important thing is that it keeps everything in your client journey in a centralized location, which is a time saver for you. Like there shouldn't be, let me go to my text message, let me go here, let me go there, because that is pretty chaotic when it comes to running your business. And so I want to give you a pro tip when it comes to Gmail or emails inside of HoneyBook. Embrace using email templates, especially for emails that you find yourself having to repeat multiple times so that it makes it easy for you to do your emails more consistently. But also if you have the AI feature turned on inside of HoneyBook, is that when you email people and you want to reply back, the AI feature will read how do you normally respond, and it will also help with generating a more professional response if for those of you that may not feel the most confident when it comes to responding back in email to people. So it's a win-win when you have this integrated correctly, as well as having the AI turned on for those of you that might not feel the strongest when it comes to emails. The second integration that I'm going to talk to you about is going to be connecting your project management tool effectively to HoneyBook. So if you're using HoneyBook to deal with your clients from day to day and you're using it for the hub of your typical client interaction, that's one thing. But I do know that I've spoken to one thing I have seen is that some people like to use platforms to do like their planning, their graphics, and things of that nature. Or inventory management. They have different platforms for that. So, one of the things that I even use inside of my business is Asana, but I know some people use ClickUp for their actual planning process. And that helps people from getting away from using like Google Excel spreadsheets and things like that. And so it's not about what you're using for project management. It's more of a conversation on if you are using a project management platform to ensure that you're actually having it synced together. So you might be wondering, why would you want to have your HoneyBook account connected to a project management platform? Because it does allow for you to auto create projects after specific projects are booked inside of HoneyBook. So it's super easy to do. It's something that's actually, and I'll show you a little bit in a few moments how to do that. But all you have to do is just have it that your Asana or your ClickUp are communicating directly inside of HoneyBook. And the trigger could be that once a specific project is booked, that it creates that project inside of your project management platform. So if you are, let's say, a wedding planner and you have boards that you're using in ClickUp or in Asana, once someone pays, you can then have that information communicated to one of those project management tools so that you don't miss out on how you want to onboard your client. And what happens is that it allows for you to have consistency in checklists, steps, and tasks, because again, that's not something that you may want to necessarily have in HoneyBook, but it is important. So that's why you're using a project management tool. A lot of people like the fact that they can have real timelines when it comes to like planning, coordinating, and that kind of stuff. It allows for team visibility, especially for those of you that have team members. And because those platforms are communicating to each other, it will help with having a holistic approach with running your business. Because when you're a planner or organizer or a venue, that isn't just having one step to your process, but there's multiple steps. That's where a project management tool can come into place so that you're able to have everything centralized, not only from the client experience, but also from executing the specific event. And there are different project management tools that are out there. And depending on what you use for project management, it will differ as far as that integration. And what I would be curious to know, if you are using some kind of platform to help you with the planning process of you running your business, comment below because I would love to know. Like, I'm sure someone that is watching today's video could benefit from learning from you as to what other tools they could use, especially for those of you that do event design, event production, and things of that nature, where it's a little bit more complex compared to if I'm a balloon artist, I may not have a bunch of tools, but like I have worked with clients that have set up their HoneyBook, and because they're doing 30, 40 balloon installs a week, they are using Asana. Like I know some people might be like, oh, another tool, but if it's going to help you with keeping things together, then it's worth the investment if it's going to help you and your team. So the way that you get to that is that you'll go again into your settings and then you will go to Asana is right here. And then I know we used to have a direct integration with ClickUp. Okay, we don't, but what you would then do is go to Zapier. And what you'll do is have a Zap that would communicate from ClickUp to HoneyBook. So you can have it directly with Asana. I know some people like to use Flowdesk. Flowdesk, again, is allows for you to do email marketing. ClickUp is a project management platform. Slack is a communication workspace. People use all of these for different reasons for project management. So Zapier, right there, Zapier. That's going to help you with having HoneyBook communicate directly. The next integration that I am going to recommend for you is going to be Canva. This is going to be such a game changer for those of you that do design and mock-ups. It doesn't matter what kind of mock-ups you do, but I highly recommend for you to do that integration. Or even if you're someone that likes to switch out your designs quite often inside of HoneyBook for a design aesthetic, you can integrate your Canva into HoneyBook. And this is really awesome because it really does allow for you to support your proposal visuals, especially for those of you that are doing planning or design aspects. It allows for you to do welcome guides that are going to be specific to those clients, as well as being able to easily input those documents inside of HoneyBook as well because of that integration. And what I do find too is that it helps with you having a faster turnaround when you're trying to do specific types of documents. Like I had worked with someone that did a proposal for their clients, and inside their proposals, they like to give like some inspo photos, and that was their mock-up design, and that's how they did it. Or I've had it where people integrate their Canva with their HoneyBook, and so after they are done with the mock-up, they do a approval questionnaire that is in HoneyBook, and all they have to do is click inside of HoneyBook, their Canva icon, and then they can actually just pull the design that they created in Canva right into HoneyBook. And so they can easily just send the questionnaire to the client to ask, do they like this design? What do they like about it? Do they give their approval? And then they can give some feedback all in one document. So it allows for you to avoid having to recreate all of your assets from scratch and allow for you to really keep your branding on point, which is a win-win because all of these things that I'm talking about, if you can't hear the undercurrent about it, it's about time. How are you using your time? If it's going to take you hours to do specific things to get to your client, then we have to look at how do we reduce some of the time it takes to actually execute our services. So here's what I want you to take away from today's conversation. HoneyBook integrations aren't to be an extra workload for you. They are intended to help you reducing you doing things manually and being more intentional and on purpose with how you're growing and doing your business. So when your workflows are clear and your platforms are communicating, you'll find that your emails are going to where they need to go. You're having all of your documents in an organized hub, and then you're able to support your clients in the way that you're truly wanting to support them. So it's your turn, and I want for you to let me know, which platforms are you integrating your account in HoneyBook with? As always, we're having conversations that are intentional for your growth and helping you hit your goals. I hope you've been enjoying this conversation thus far. And if you're looking at your HoneyBook account and you feel a little bit lost and confused by what I'm sharing today or what's already been happening in your account, this is where you should look at my HoneyBook audits. We can start to look at how do we make things work more efficiently in your business and brand inside of the platform? What are some modifications that can be occurred? What are some features that you could be using so that you're able to optimize your business growth inside of this great platform? If you're wanting to learn more about my HoneyBook audits, definitely scan this QR code or click on the link in the description so that you can set up your time today. So let's get the clarity that you need for your goals.